Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be reading Shock and Awe, made by u/FoxKorp. Thanks for the writer's permission. The link for the story is in the description and I hope you'll enjoy. Let's begin. The trench line was manned by Kandari mercenaries, the most feared beings in the galaxy. Over the thousands of years since their discovery, they've offered up their services to anyone who could pay. Pirates, slavers, fascists, communists, libertarians, republics, you name it, they fought for it. When the trading clans of Agesh decided several human planets were within their sovereign territory, it was these same Kandari mercenaries who answered the call. Upon realizing that it was the Kandari invading their planet, most species would simply give up. Humans are not most species. After a day of progress, the Kandari advance was halted completely. They'd successfully taken the majority of the second largest continent on the planet. They took over a region consisting entirely of flat, fertile farmland. Human forces regained control of nearly every forest and mountain range on the continent, and also held defensive positions behind rivers. Up until this point, humanity hadn't fought back whatsoever. They simply entrenched themselves into defensive positions and waited for the mercenaries to overextend. On the second morning of the assault, overextension occurred. 100,000 Kandari charged across the new Mississippi. After facing such little resistance in the previous days, commanders were certain the humans couldn't repel their forces. Humans gave them a helping dose of humble pie, in the shape of depleted uranium rounds, that is. An entire battalion of tanks roared to life at once. The main guns sliced through the makeshift bridges, while the coaxial MGs ripped any infantry on top to shreds. Artillery over 50 kilometers away began to rain hellfire down upon any troops stupid enough to retreat from the meat grinder that was the riverside. Humans emerged behind the Kandari lines and opened fire using crude slug slingers. The noise was unbearable. Every Kandari soldier who wasn't shot, drowned, dying, or otherwise was now completely deaf. Not even the thunderous roar of human casques could reach their ringing eardrums. With each volley of machine gun fire, every boom of artillery, every flash of flame from rockets, every roar of the human infantry, and each gun run of the casques, more and more Kandari were killed. After only 15 minutes, each of the 100,000 soldiers was dead or captured, and the human assault began. Across the entire continent, Kandari lines were rocked by thunderous artillery and rocket fire. Ammunition depots and supply hubs lit up in magnificent explosions. Trenches caved in with their occupants still alive. The skies themselves were filled with human bombers and fighters, and the initiative turned. From the mountain ranges, armored bulldozers charged toward the Kandari lines. The trenches opened fire with lasers and plasma, but they couldn't stop the monsters hulking towards them. The trenches were paved over with blood-soaked mud, and the human advance began. In the beautiful riverside of the new Mississippi, human tanks and infantry crossed en masse. Any Kandari that tried to regroup or fall back was destroyed by the monstrous sound of human casques. The image of the ground being eviscerated was seen before the demonic sound. Trenches in other areas were hit by a terrible mixture known as white phosphorus. Napalm was also dropped right behind the trench line to prevent any possibility of escape. Tanks and IFVs rushed the burning trenches and cleaned them out with horrible efficiency. Across the entire front line, the Kandari had been completely pushed back. They retained control of a single urban area. Kandari mercenaries had already slaughtered the population as the trading clans demanded. This only sealed their fate. For 2 days, the humans did nothing but bombard the city back to the Stone Age. Booms of rockets could be heard every hour of the day. Artillery smashed into high-rises. Buildings collapsed. Gas lines exploded. Pipes burst. And the rubble constantly shifted. The sonic booms of jet bombers struck fear into the hearts of anyone who remained, not knowing where the next bomb would hit, but knowing that it would kill anyone it targeted. After the second day had passed, orbital reinforcements arrived. The Kandari cheered and celebrated, not knowing their fate had now been sealed. The ships were not friends, they were human. In one last act of absolute psychological torture, the humans sent their ships into the atmosphere. Some assumed a broadside position and began to bombard the rubble even more. In 30 minutes, the humans had used over 10 million shells of differing sizes to bombard the now smoldering ruins. After these 30 minutes were up, all bombardment ceased. The remaining mercenaries clawed their way out of the rubble to see what had occurred, only to find the spinal mech of a human battleship staring them down. The last words of General Caladonus, as recorded by his data link, were, "Mech rounds in atmosphere!" The mighty human military doctrine was revealed to the galaxy. They called it shock and awe. That was the end of the story. Thank you so very much to Commodore Goat for supporting me on Patreon, and thank you all for listening. I'm glad to still have you here. This one was a request of a viewer, and I personally enjoyed it. I hope I was able to do a satisfying job at narrating the story. If you have stuck around, go and show your appreciation to the writer on HFY. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.